Softball Division I as Ohio Northern is taking on Oakland University as the first out just happened moments ago. Addie Moore, the catcher for Ohio Northern, just grounded out to the shortstop Mischewitz. So we would like to apologize for technical difficulties, but we are up and running now. So pitching is Reagan Lineberger. She's wearing number 3 for Oakland. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Caitlin Lloyd. Lloyd hits one up the middle into center field, a base hit. That'll be the first hit of this morning. So we want to wish you a good morning from Adrian, Michigan. It is a pretty cold and cloudy day here at the Adrian College softball field. So your lineup for Ohio Northern: Addie Moore, who grounded out to short; Caitlin Lloyd, who just hit a single up the middle. And right now it's Katie Demitet, then Rachel Rennie, who will be pitching. And that ball's going to get away from Klein, and down to second goes Lloyd. So also in the lineup we have Hannah Kendig, the first baseman; Marissa Meyer, the right fielder; Riley Schultz playing shortstop; Emma Arrington, the left fielder; and at the bottom of the lineup, batting ninth, will be Megan Pickens for Ohio Northern. That's a little flare into the left. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Caitlin Lloyd will stay at third. And so Ohio Northern has runners on the corners with one out. And starting in defense for Oakland, Brzezowski in left, Witt in center, Brooke Flex askew in right, Hall at third, Mischewitz at short, Griffiths at second, Melcher at first, Klein behind the plate, and Lineberger on the mound. That'll be ball one on Rachel Rennie. So Ohio Northern has runners at the corners with only one out here. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Here's a ground ball to second. Griffiths will throw to the second baseman. She'll throw to the shortstop, Mischewitz, but the run will score. They will not get the double play as Rachel Rennie reaches first on a fielder's choice. Demitet is out at second base. So now the batter will be Hannah Kendig, the first baseman for the Ohio Northern. First pitch to her, and that's going to be a base hit to right center field. Going to second is Rennie. So it's a 1-0 lead in favor of Ohio Northern University. They have runners at first and second with 2 outs, with Marissa Meyer coming up. Marissa Meyer will bat with runners at first and second with 2 outs as the Polar Bears have a 1-0 lead on the RBI from Rennie on the fielder's choice. First pitch to Meyer. That's a called strike one. Just the start of things here at the Adrian College softball field with 2 outs. Here's the 0-1. And a fly ball into center field. That is going to be caught by Witt to end the inning. But Ohio Northern takes a 1-0 lead on the RBI on a fielder's choice by Rachel Rennie, scoring in Caitlin Lloyd. And we're going to step aside and take a break, but we'll be right back for the bottom of the first inning. Ohio Northern leads 1-0. You are watching Club Softball on ACTV. Bottom of the first inning, Ohio Northern just took a 1-0 lead on the RBI fielder's choice on Rachel Rennie. Pitching today for Ohio Northern is Rachel Rennie. She'll be facing Allie Witt, who's batting right now, leading things off for Oakland. She'll be followed by Allie Mischwitz and Tessa Klein, the catcher, Ciara Braska, the DH, then Olivia Griffiths, Sarah Hall, Allison Melcher, Peyton Brzozowski, and Rachel Lineberger. Count is 1-1 on Allie Witt. Starting in defense for ONU, Arrington in left, Lloyd in center, Meyer in right, and that's going to drop into right field for a base hit. So a bloop single for Allie Witt to start things off for Oakland. So we have Demitit at third, Schultz at shortstop, Pickens at second, Kendig at first, Moore behind the plate, and Rennie on the mound. So now batting is Allie Mischwitz. First pitch to her. That is a called strike one on the low outside corner. Ohio Northern has a 1-0 lead. This is the bottom half of the first inning. Here's the 0-1. Check swing. A little check swing, but did not go as the swing was not far enough. So it is now ball one and strike one on Allie Mischwitz. Tessa Klein waits her turn in the on-deck circle. That is ball one, way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike on Allie Mischwitz. Home plate umpire confirms the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nobody outs just yet. Allie Witt is at first base, the 2-1. Here's a high fly ball into center field, and that is going to be caught by Lloyd for the first out of the inning. As she gets a fist bump from Meyer, as that was a pretty good catch that she made. Next up to bat is Tessa Klein, the catcher for Oakland University. 1 out, a runner still at first for Oakland. First pitch to Klein. That is ball one. Count is 1-0 on Tessa Klein. Trying to pick up Witt from first base. Witt represents the tying run. Here's the 1-0. That's in there for a called strike. Count is even 1-1 on Tessa Klein. Ciara Braska is waiting her turn in the on-deck circle. And that's going to get away from Moore. Going to second is Witt. And she'll advance on a wild pitch from Rennie. So the count is 2-1 on Klein. And for the second batter in a row, the count has reached to 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's a 2-1 pitch. That is way high. 3 balls and 1 strike on Klein. So Braska is on deck, and she'll be followed by Griffiths. Count is 3-1 on Klein. Here's the pitch. And that is ball 4. And so now Oakland will have runners at first and second with only 1 out. And so here is Ciara Braska. And they're going to get a pinch runner, Ferguson. Ferguson will run for Klein at first base. So Ferguson is at first, and Witt is still on second. So now here's Ciara Braska, the DH. First pitch to her from Rennie, and that is going to be picked up by Rennie. She'll throw to third, and they'll get the out there as Witt is tagged out. And they're going to throw to second, too. Ball's still in play. The runner is safe. As Ferguson advances to second. And so Brasco will reach first base on the fielder's choice. Witt is out at third base. So there are 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the first inning, Ohio Northern has a 1-0 lead. Oakland will still have runners at first and second base. Ferguson is at second base, and Braska is at first. And now the batter will be Olivia Griffiths, wearing number 9. She is the second baseman for Oakland. She's taken a few practice swings. As the catcher, Moore, gets back in her spot. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. First pitch to Griffiths. That's a little bit high for ball 1. Count is 1-0 on Griffiths. If Griffiths shall reach, Sarah Hall, the third baseman, is waiting her turn in the on-deck circle. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Rennie. Big swing and a miss, and the count is even at 1-1 strike. One and one on Griffiths. 1-0 lead in favor of Ohio Northern University. Here's the pitch. And a good job by the catcher, Moore, preventing both of the runners from advancing. So the count is 2-1 strike on Griffiths. Hall on deck, she'll be followed by Melcher. Here's a 2-1 delivery. And that's going to go foul and out of play. Lands into the bullpen. And Rennie is a strike away from ending this inning. Home plate umpire confirms the count. Even at 2-2. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. And a high pop fly, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And here comes Ferguson. She will score. That'll be a bloop RBI single for Olivia Griffiths. Gets over the second baseman Pickens. Drops into shallow right field. And down to third goes Braska. So now the batter will be Sarah Hall, wearing number 31. Hall is the third baseman for Oakland. And if she reaches, she'll be followed by Allison Melcher. So this game is now tied. 1 run scored for Ohio Northern, 1 run scored for Oakland University. Check swing, and the runner's going. And Olivia Griffiths will steal second base standing up. There was no play from Moore. 2 outs. This game is tied at 1-1. And the count is 2-0 on Sarah Hall. And since there's 2 outs, the runners will be on the move here. The 2-0. That is high. 3 balls and no strikes. And to keep in mind, if there are 2 outs, as soon as the ball is hit by the bat, the runners have to go no matter what. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. That'll be a 4-pitch walk to Sarah Hall. That'll bring up Allison Melcher. She'll bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So here's Allison Melcher. First pitch to her from Rennie. The count is 1-0. The ball and no strikes, 2 outs. The bases are loaded with a 1-1 tie game. 2-0 as Rennie seems to be struggling at finding the strike zone. So the count is 2-0 on Melcher. Here's the pitch. That's in there for a called strike 1. Count is 2-1 on Allison Melcher. If she reaches, Peyton Brzezowski is waiting on deck. 3 balls and 1 strike now. And so Rachel Rennie is going to have to throw a strike here to catch up with the count. She's behind 3-1. Here's the pitch. And that is in there for a called strike 2. So now the count is full at 3-2. Bases loaded. The runners will be on the move here. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. She got her on strikes. As Rachel Rennie gets her first strikeout, she gets Allison Melcher swinging on a 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded. This game is tied at 1-1 on the RBI single by Olivia Griffiths, scoring in Ferguson. So we will make our way to the second inning. 1-1 tie here at the Adrian College softball field. You are watching Club Softball on ACTV.
I'm a special ed social worker.
And I'm a third-year public affairs major.
I'm an action filmmaker.
I'm a recent graduate from Michigan State University.
I'm an underwater cinematographer.
So I didn't really decide I wanted to become a pilot till after college.
Jevy is like a consolidated platform where I can have focused information in a couple swipes.
Involve yourself as many opportunities that you can.
The number one most important thing is knowing your own weaknesses. Proper planning.
Breakfast.
It's always something different, something new.
The fact that you can be another small voice that adds to a beautiful space. That's what I'm here for.
It is the top of the second inning now, as Reagan Lineberger will get back to work on the mound for Oakland. As the batter now is Schultz. Riley Schultz. It's a high pop fly. It'll drop into the foul territory. No play. So this game is tied at 1-1. Back in the bottom of the first inning, Olivia Griffiths had an RBI single that scored in the pinch runner Ferguson. But Rachel Rennie struck out Allison Melcher swinging on a 3-2 pitch to get out of a bases loaded jam. Here's the 1-1. Here's a high pop fly. It'll be caught by the shortstop Mischwitz for the first out of the second inning. It is a 1-1 tie. So Riley Schultz pops out to short. So here's Emma Arrington. Arrington plays left field for Ohio Northern. She'll be taking her first at bat of this series. That was a breaking ball. That'll be called ball 1. The 1-0 pitch coming up from Lineberger to Arrington. The count is 2-0. I'd also like to mention we do have action going on at Nicolay Field as well. It'll be Game 3 against the Bulldogs and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Here's a 2-0. That's foul tipped. The count is 2-1 strike on Arrington. Count is 2-1 on Arrington. Here's the pitch from Lineberger. Foul tipped again. That's strike 2. And so Adrian College Club Baseball, and the Notre Dame Club Baseball, they're getting warmed up over at Nicolay Field. Game 3 for them will be starting in about an hour. I announced both of their games yesterday. Notre Dame won Game 1, 3-0, and Adrian College won Game 2, splitting the doubleheader series at a game apiece. They won Game 2, 6-3. Game 3 will take place at noon. And the winner of that one will take the series 2-1. And that's going to be ball 4 on a 3-2 pitch as Arrington earns a walk. So now the batter will be Megan Pickens. Pickens will bat with a runner at first base with 2 outs. And that's going to get away from Klein. The throw to second will be not in time as Mieschwitz was off the bag. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's ball 2. As I believe there's actually 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. So the count is 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. That's strike 2. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out. Here's a 2-1. As that'll be ball 3 to Megan Pickens. Count is 3 balls and 1 strike. Lineberger falling behind with the count. Here's a 3-1 delivery. And it bounces in front of Klein. That'll be the second walk of this inning for Reagan Lineberger. So now coming up to bat will be Addie Moore, as we were back at the top of the lineup for Ohio Northern University. Addie Moore grounded out to Mieschwitz back in the first. First pitch to her. That'll be ball 1. One out here in the top half of the second inning. Here's the 1-0 delivery. And that'll be ball 2. Count is 2 balls and no strikes on Addie Moore. She'll try to pick up Arrington from second. Try to get her to come in and score at least. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Moore. Still only 1 out here in the second inning. Here's a 2-1 delivery. Breaking ball just misses a little bit upstairs. For the second batter in a row, at least, it's been Lineberger has fallen behind on the count with 3-1. She's going to have to throw a strike here. 1-1 tie here in the second. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And that's going to be a base hit to left center field. Arrington will make it to third, and she'll stop there. Going to second is Pickens, and Addie Moore has her first hit as she has a bloop single to left center field. So now the batter will be Caitlin Lloyd, as there's going to be a mound visit, as Oakland is going to try to figure out how they can get out of a bases-loaded jam with only 1 out. Because back in the bottom of the first inning, Rachel Rennie got out of a bases-loaded jam, but they were 2 outs, so this is going to be even more of a challenge for Oakland. As there's still only 1 out. As Arrington walked and then Pickens walked, and Addie Moore hit a single to left center field, but it was not far enough for Arrington to come home and score. She made a good decision to stay at third base. So now the batter is Lloyd. Caitlin Lloyd hit a single right up the middle back in the first inning and was thrown out at third base as Wait, no, she actually scored on the RBI fielder's choice by Rachel Rennie. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball misses upstairs. The count is 2 balls and no strikes on Caitlin Lloyd. Katie Demitet is waiting her turn on deck. And she'll be followed by Rachel Rennie. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. There's that breaking ball again. This time it'll be a called strike 1. So the count is 2-1 on Caitlin Lloyd. Still 1 out here in the top half of the second inning. Here's the 2-1 delivery. And she hits a high, towering fly ball. Pretty deep, and that's going to land right behind Brzezowski. 2 runs are going to score. And that's a 2 RBI single, a long single for Caitlin Lloyd. That was pretty close to heading over the fence. But now it'll be a 3-0 lead in favor of the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. So now here's Katie Demitet. She'll bat with runners at first and second, with still only 1 out. Here comes the pitch. That is low and in the dirt. The runners are going to go to third and second. Addie Moore is safe at third as Caitlin Lloyd advances to second base. So here's Katie Demitet as the count is 1-0 on her. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. As she hits a high pop fly in foul territory. That'll be caught by Melcher. As Klein had to remove her mask just in case she wanted to make the play, but instead it was caught by Melcher. So now here's Rachel Rennie. Rennie had an RBI and a fielder's choice that scored in Caitlin Lloyd, which gave the Polar Bears a 1-0 lead in the first inning, and now she'll bat with runners both in scoring position. Moore at third and Lloyd at second with 2 outs. Count is 1-0 on Rachel Rennie. She'll be followed by Hannah Kendig. Here's the pitch. And that's going to get away from Klein a little bit, but not far enough to allow Moore to come in and score. So the count is 2 balls and no strikes on Rachel Rennie. Rennie batting in the cleanup position, and she's also pitching this morning. Here's a 2-0. That one's inside. As Lineberger's a pitch away from loading the bases. So the count is 3-0 on Rachel Rennie. Here's a 3-0. And that's off of Lineberger, and another run will score, and the throw is not in time. That'll be the second RBI for Rachel Rennie, as scoring in is Addie Moore. As they're going to check on Lineberger, as that ball may have, it's like it ricocheted off of her foot. But it looks like she's okay, as they're having another quick meeting on the mound, as the score is now 4-1 in favor of the Polar Bears. As you can see, her teammates comforting her as we're actually gonna step aside and take a quick break, but we'll be right back for Club Baseball. You are watching it on ACTV.
This is the Arrington Bookstore at Adrian College, the place to get game day ready, represent your clubs and organizations, and be Bulldog proud. With a wide selection of merchandise and a smile at every visit, stop by inside the Kane Student Center to pick up your Adrian College wares and make it another great day to be a Bulldog. This is the Arrington Bookstore at Adrian College, the place to get game day ready, represent your clubs and organizations, and be Bulldog proud. With a wide selection of merchandise and a smile at every visit, stop by inside the Kane Student Center to pick up your Adrian College wares and make it another great day to be a Bulldog.
You are watching Club Softball here at the live from the Adrian College softball field, being streamed on ACTV. We are a student-run broadcast. As Reagan Lineberger gets back to work on the mound, still 2 outs. Here's a fly ball to center field. That is going to be caught by Witt for the 3rd out of the inning. What a catch! A diving play by Witt to end the inning. But it is a 4-1 lead in favor of Ohio Northern University, as there were RBIs from Caitlin Lloyd and Rachel Rennie. As we now go to the bottom half of the 2nd inning, you are watching Club Softball on ACTV.
10 years ago, Adrian College Television set out on a mission to bring the excitement, the passion, and the unforgettable moments of Bulldog athletics to fans everywhere. From the field to the court, from nail-biting finishes to championship victories, ACTV has been there to capture it all.
Yeah, Jordan Spear, happy birthday, buddy. I'm sure.
This year, we celebrate a decade of dedication, 10 years of innovation, teamwork, and delivering the energy of Adrian College straight to your screen. Here's to the next chapter at ACTV, because at Adrian College, the story is just beginning.
Bottom half of the 2nd inning. You're watching Club Softball as the Ohio Northern Polar Bears have a 1-0 lead over the Oakland Grizzlies. As coming up to bat will be Peyton Brzezowski. She'll be taking her first at-bat of this game. As back in the bottom of the 1st inning, Allison Melcher struck out on a 3-2 pitch to end a bases-loaded jam, as Rachel Rennie will get back to work on the mound for the Polar Bears. She'll be facing Brzezowski, followed by Lineberger, and then Witt. So here's Brzezowski, the left fielder. First pitch to her. That is way high, as Moore made a good snag on that one. As the count is 1 ball and no strikes on Peyton Brzezowski. Nobody out just yet. This is the bottom half of the 2nd inning. Count is 2-0 on Brzezowski. It is a cloudy day here at the campus of Adrian College. Count is 2-0. Here's the pitch. Big swing and a miss from Brzezowski. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Brzezowski. Reagan Lineberger, the pitcher, is waiting her turn in the on-deck circle. Here's the 2-1. That is way high, as Rachel Rennie she has struggled here and there at finding the zone. The count is 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to the right side. That'll go foul and out of play. It lands by the bullpen. Count is 3 balls and 2 strikes on Brzezowski. Lineberger waiting on deck. She'll be followed by Witt. Nobody out. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Rachel Rennie gets her 2nd strikeout of the day, as she gets high fives from her teammates. So after falling behind on the count 3-1, she comes back, throws a couple of good pitches to strike out Brzezowski swinging. Here's Lineberger. She hits a high pop fly to the right side. That'll be caught by the second baseman Pickens for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning. Now here's Allie Witt. Allie Witt had a single in the first. And she was thrown out at third base as Braska reached on a fielder's choice. That'll get away from Moore, but she won't have to worry about it too much because there's nobody on base. Allie Mishwicz is waiting her turn on deck. If Witt shall reach, she will be next. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That is low for ball 2. So the Polar Bears have a 4-1 lead as they scored 3 runs in the top half of the second inning. Here's the 2-0. That's strike 1. So it looked like it was just a little bit inside, but that'll be a called strike 1. Here's a 2-1 pitch on the ground to the third baseman, Demitet. She'll throw to first. It was in time, but it bounces out of Kendig's glove. And so Lineberger will be safe. Excuse me, no, Allie Witt is safe at first base. Now he'll be Allie Mishwicz. She'll bat with a runner at first and 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. First pitch to Mishwicz from Rennie. And the runner's going, and she's going to get back to first base as Moore made the play at second, which made Witt stop herself in her tracks. She is still safe at first base. So the batter is Allie Mishwicz if she reaches. Tessa Klein is waiting her turn on deck. Here's the 1-0. That is high, ball 2. So the count is 2-0 on Mishwicz. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. On the ground, that'll go foul. So the count is 2-1 on Mishwicz. Klein on deck if she shall reaches, and Klein will be followed by Braska. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Allie Mishwicz. Home plate umpire confirms the count. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Rennie. Here's a high fly ball into right field. That'll drop into foul territory. There'll be no catch. As the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Mishwicz. So 2-2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of inning number 2. Here's the pitch. On the ground to the shortstop, Schultz. She'll make the toss, and she'll get the force out at second base. No runs. A runner on base, and 1 left as we go to the third inning as the rain is starting to come down just a little bit. It is 4-1 Polar Bears here at the Adrian College softball field. You are watching NCBA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is shaping the future of higher education and leading the way in innovation and excellence. Ranked first in most innovative schools and second in best value in undergraduate teaching in the Midwest by U.S. News and World Report, Adrian College is recognized for its commitment to innovation, quality education, and affordability. Offering 71 undergraduate programs, 13 graduate programs, and a 1-to-15 faculty-to-student ratio, our students receive personalized attention and a cutting-edge education. With state-of-the-art facilities, 10 academic institutes, and 50 competitive sports teams, Adrian fosters growth both inside and outside the classroom. From small class sizes to championship-level athletics, we provide the tools and experiences you need to succeed. Join a community that prioritizes your success. Start your journey with us, where your potential is realized. Discover Adrian College.
Top of the third inning now. The Polar Bears have a 1-0 lead over the Grizzlies. So coming up to bat now is Marissa Meyer, the right fielder. She'll be facing Reagan Lineberger. As is the top half of the third inning, as we see some of the spectators have a few of them have their umbrellas up. As the count is 1-0 on Marissa Meyer. For those of you who are just tuning in, well, thank you very much for tuning into our broadcasts on ACTV, our student-run broadcast from Adrian College. My name is Forrest Vernier, your play-by-play announcer. Joining me in the booth is Keegan Wade, your director. As that one pitch from Lineberger was way high as it got away from everyone, but won't need to worry about too much because there's nobody on base just yet here in the top half of the third inning, and no outs yet either. 2-0 as Meyer is just leading things off, as that is a called strike one. Home plate umpire confirms the count. 2-1 on Marissa Meyer. She'll be followed by Riley Schultz and then Emma Arrington. Here's the 2-1 delivery. And that's right back to the mound. Lineberger will throw to first for out number 1. As Meyer grounds out to the pitcher for the first out of the third inning. Now the batter will be Riley Schultz. Schultz popped out back in the second inning. This will be her second at-bat of this game. So Ohio Northern has a 4-1 lead. As hopefully this rain won't last too long. Hopefully it'll either just be a sprinkle. Count is 1-0 with 1 out. Here's the 1-0. That is high. 2 balls on Riley Schultz. Schultz will be followed by Arrington and then Megan Pickens. Here comes the 2-1 delivery from Lineberger. That's in there for a called strike. Count is 2-1 on Riley Schultz. Arrington waiting her turn in the on-deck circle. She will be next. Here's a 2-1. Breaking ball misses upstairs. Count is 3-1. As it is also, it's a pretty cold day here at Adrian. You'll see some of the players wearing sweatshirts over their jerseys. Here's a 3-1. Swing and a miss. The count is all filled up. 3-2 on Riley Schultz. 3-2 to Schultz with 1 out in the top of the third inning. Nobody on base for the Polar Bears. Here's a 3-2. That'll be a walk to Schultz. That'll be the first time she'll reach first base. So now here is Emma Arrington. Arrington walked in the second inning and scored on the RBI single from Caitlin Lloyd. Arrington and Pickens scored on that base hit, and that's a ground ball to second. Griffiths will throw to first. He'll be not in time, but the runner will be out on second base. So Arrington reaches first on the fielder's choice. So now there's 2 outs in the top of the third. As a batter now is Megan Pickens. Pickens walked in the second inning and scored on the 2 RBI single by Caitlin Lloyd. It was a very long single, too. It just hit the base of the wall right behind Brzezowski. The count is 1-0 on Megan Pickens. So we are at the bottom of the lineup for the Polar Bears, and if she reaches Addie Moore, who singled, is waiting her turn on deck. That's a ground ball. It'll be picked up by the shortstop. Mieschwitz, she'll have to hurry. Be not in time Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Now the batter will be Addie Moore. Addie Moore hit us. Moore grounded out in the first inning and singled in the second, as the second baseman Griffiths will have to keep an eye on this one, as the ball could be hit on a ground ball right towards her position. The count is 1-0 on Addie Moore. Moore had a single and scored on the RBI from Rennie. It was either Rennie or Demitet that scored her in. Here's the 1-0. And that's going to get through Griffiths. She tried going for the catch, but it went right past her. And coming in to score is Arrington. It'll be an RBI single for Addie Moore, her second hit of the day, at her first RBI of this game. So it is 5-1 in favor of Ohio Northern on a 2-out RBI single by Addie Moore, scoring in Emma Arrington. So now here's Caitlin Lloyd. Lloyd singled and scored back in the first inning, as she takes a ball from Lineberger. And so far in every inning offensively for the Polar Bears, they have scored at least 1 run in every inning they've played. And a little blooper, that will be caught by the first baseman Melcher to end the inning. But Ohio Northern gets 1 more run on the RBI single by Addie Moore, scoring in Emma Arrington. As now we're going to go to the bottom of the third inning. A 5-1 lead in favor of the Polar Bears. You are watching NCBA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
You stand today, students, on the threshold of a magical time in your life, a time of significant growth, introspection, self-awareness, challenge, and opportunity. A time that you will always look back on as special years. Never experienced before you arrived today, and never replicated after you graduate.
Bottom of the third inning now, here at the Adrian College softball field. The Ohio Northern Polar Bears have a 5-1 lead over the Oakland Grizzlies. As for those of you watching at home, we would like to remind you to stay connected with all the action by following at Adrian College TV on social media. From game highlights to campus events, we've got you covered. Don't miss a moment. Follow at Adrian College TV today. You can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you're watching the stream from home, thanks so much for checking out our YouTube channel. There's so much more to see. So be sure to click on the red button, the one that says subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified 30 minutes before we start a broadcast wherever we may be. And so now Oakland is back on offense. They're going to try to get things going here against Rennie. So the batter is Tessa Klein. Oh and 1 on Klein. Pitcher is still Rachel Rennie. Rennie has only given up 1 run back in the first inning. She's had a couple of strikeouts. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Tessa Klein. Nobody out here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Rennie. That's upstairs, ball 3. So the count is 3 balls and 1 strike on Tessa Klein. She'll be followed by Ciara Braska and Olivia Griffiths. Here's a 3-1 delivery. Swung on and hit foul and out of play. That may have landed somewhere in the bleachers. The count is 3 balls and 2 strikes on Tessa Klein. Nobody on base just yet. No outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Klein strikes out swinging. That is Rennie's 3rd strikeout of this game as she gets Klein swinging on a 3-2 pitch. So now here's Ciara Braska. Braska will bat with nobody on base and 1 out in the 3rd. First pitch to her is ball 1. On deck is Olivia Griffiths. And after Griffiths will be Sarah Hall. Here's the 1-0. That misses the high outside corner. That is ball 2. Count is 2 balls and no strikes on Ciara Braska. Here's the 2-0. Ground ball, that'll go foul down the right field line. The count is 2-1 on Braska. She is wearing number 0. The count is 2-1 on Braska with 1 out. It is the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The Ohio Northern Polar Bears lead 5-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's upstairs for ball 3. Rennie will have to catch up with the count. She has fallen behind 3-1. Here's the pitch. That's ball 4 as it gets away from Moore. As Braska will reach first base. She'll be aboard on a walk. Up next is Olivia Griffiths. Griffiths had an RBI single. And that is scored in the only run so far for the Oakland Grizzlies. First pitch to her is inside for ball 1. So the Polar Bears lead 5-1 over the Grizzlies. It's the bottom of the 3rd inning, 1 out. Braska at first base. Here's the 1-0 delivery. That is upstairs for ball 2. Sarah Hall will be next. She is waiting her turn in the on-deck circle as long as the Grizzlies can avoid grounding into a double play here. Here's the 2-0. That's ball 3. Count is 3-0 on Griffiths. She's taken a few practice swings before she steps back into the box. Here's the 3-0 from Rennie. That's in there for strike 1 on the outside corner. Count is 3-1 on Griffiths. Hall on deck. Hall will be followed by Melcher. Here's a high pop fly, middle of the infield. That's going to be caught. That'll be caught by Pickens for the 2nd out of the inning. Now here is Sarah Hall. Hall walked back in the 2nd inning and did not score. Here's the pitch. That's strike 1. So Sarah Hall has an 0-1 count on her from Rennie. Here's the 0-1 delivery. And that bounces in. Going to second base is Braska. She'll make it there standing up. She'll advance on a wild pitch from Rennie. Count is 1-1 strike on Sarah Hall. With 2 outs in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Here's the 1-1. That is ball 2. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Sarah Hall. If she reaches, Allison Melcher, who struck out with the bases loaded, is waiting her turn on deck. Here's the 2-1. 3-1 on Hall. Still 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. Rennie will have to throw a strike. Here's the 3-1. That is in there, just on the inside corner for a called strike 2, and the count is full at 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Here's a high fly ball to right field, and that is gonna get down by Meyer. Here comes Browska. She'll come in to score. Going to second is Hall. She'll make it there. As Oakland trails 5-2 now, as Sarah Hall just had her first hit and her first RBI, scoring in Ciara Browska. There'll be an RBI double. Now here's Allison Melcher. First pitch to her is ball 1. You can see Hall taking a big leadoff from second base. So Melcher struck out with the bases loaded earlier. Rennie has struck out 3. Rennie has struck out Melcher, Brzezowski, and Klein. Here's the 2-0. And that is going to be over. That is going to go over the shortstop Schultz. Coming in to score is Sarah Hall. And going to second is Allison Melcher. It is now 5-3 as Oakland has something going here with their offense. So now coming up to bat is Brzezowski. Brzezowski struck out back in the 2nd inning. She'll bat with 2 outs. First pitch to her will be ball 1. So the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Still 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. The count is 1-1. Reagan Lineberger is waiting her turn on deck. The 1-1 way inside as Brzezowski had to dodge that one. Lineberger will be next if Brzezowski shall reach first base. Count is 2-1. That is strike 2 as it lands into the zone. Count is even at 2-2 on Brzezowski. Allison Melcher is at second base. She had an RBI double that scored in Sarah Hall. And that is foul tipped. Brzezowski just got a piece of that one. This at-bat will continue for at least one more pitch. Count still 2 balls and 2 strikes on Brzezowski. Here's the pitch. That is high for ball 3. Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Brzezowski. Rachel Rennie just needs one more strike to put an end to this inning. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Brzezowski strikes out swinging for the 2nd time today. That will end the 3rd inning. But Oakland gets 2 more runs on an RBI double by Sarah Hall and an RBI double by Allison Melcher. As we make our way to the fourth inning, it is 5-3 Polar Bears here at the Adrian College softball field. You are watching NCBA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
You have earned the right to be here through endless nights of studying, testing, writing, and dedication to learning. The diploma you will receive symbolizes your efforts and distinguishes you as a highly educated person, learned in the arts and sciences, and prepared for a life of achievement and great accomplishment.
Now, as you face the world outside this academic haven, the concept of courage must not be left behind in your textbooks. It should be as alive in you today as your ambition to change the world for the better.
We were all born to be a Bulldog. Life drew us to this school, these people, and this tiny town. You were meant to be here to make a difference and to grow within yourself for the better. But what does it mean to truly be a Bulldog? Well, to scratch the surface, the students of Adrian College are anything but ordinary. The pride, grit, perseverance, and passion is absolutely unmatched. Good luck and congratulations, class of 2024. And know that today is yet another Bulldog victory.
Live from the Adrian College softball field, this is NCSA. I just wanted to make a correction on that. I was getting it mixed up with club baseball. So it is now the top half of the fourth inning. It is a 5-3 lead in favor of the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. My name is Forrest Vernier. I'm your play-by-play announcer. I will also be calling the next game after this one, as Adrian College Club Softball will be playing too against Ohio Northern. As Oakland will be back on defense here. As we will get to the offense in just a moment here, but so back in the first inning, Ohio Northern scored in one run to take the lead on the RBI single by it was an RBI on a fielder's choice by Rachel Renning. Then in the bottom of the first inning, Olivia Griffiths had an RBI single. As we are also getting a change on the mound, Braska will be taking over for Reagan Lineberger as she makes her warm-up throws. We're going to step aside for a break, but we'll be right back for more NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is a private liberal arts institution known for its diverse academic programs, strong emphasis on experiential learning, vibrant campus life, and commitment to fostering a supportive community. Want to visit Adrian College for yourself? Visit our website at adrian.edu/campusvisit. Adrian College is a private liberal arts institution known for its diverse academic programs, strong emphasis on experiential learning, vibrant campus life, and commitment to fostering a supportive community. Want to visit Adrian College for yourself? Visit our website at adrian.edu/campusvisit.
It is now the top of the fourth inning as the new pitcher, Ciara Braska, will get back to work on the mound. She was the designated player. Now she'll be taking over for Lineberger on the mound, as she will face Katie Demitet, followed by Rachel Rennie, and then Hannah Kendig. Count is 1-1 on Demitet. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's a called strike one. Excuse me, one ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. And that's going to get through the shortstop, Mischwitz. That'll be a base hit for Rachel Demitet. That'll be a leadoff single for Demitet. Now coming up is Rachel Rennie. Rennie then will be followed by Hannah Kendig and Marissa Meyer. Nobody out here in the top half of the 4th inning. Here's the pitch. That'll be ball 1. Count is 1-0 on Rennie. Demitet is at first base. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike on Rachel Rennie. Nobody outs here in the 4th. Here's the 1-1. That is tapped foul and out of play. Count is 1-2 on Rennie. Ball and 2 strikes with nobody out. A runner at first base is Demitet for the Polar Bears. They have a 5-3 lead over the Grizzlies. That bounces in front of Klein. She'll throw to second base. And the runner is safe. So Demitet advances to second base. She is in scoring position now, and a base hit far enough will bring her on home. So the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Rachel Rennie. Still nobody out here in the top half of the 4th inning. Here's a 2-2. Swing and a miss. She strikes out swinging on a pitch that was up and in. That is Braska's first strikeout of the day in her relief appearance. So now the batter is Hannah Kendig. She'll bat with Demitet at second base with 1 out in the 4th inning. That's a big cut and a miss. Count is 0-1 on Kendig. Kendig will be followed by Marissa Meyer, who is on deck. And then Riley Schultz. Here's the 0-1. And a little blooper. That's going to drop into right field for a base hit. It'll be picked up by Flex. And down to third goes Demitet. So next up is Marissa Meyer. As the Polar Bears have runners on the corners with 1 out. One out. Runners on the corners. As a called strike one on Myers. Meyer will be followed by Schultz and then Arrington. Still 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. It is a 5-3 lead in favor of the Polar Bears, trying to add on more. And that bounces in front of the catcher Klein, a good block. As this cold seems to be making it a bit of a challenge for the players here. One out in the 4th. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Myers with a big swing and a miss. That's strike 2. Home plate umpire confirms the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Marissa Meyer. Meyer grounded out in her last at bat. Looking for a hit and RBI. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Myers goes down on strikes. But Hannah Kendig steals second base as Klein couldn't quite get it out of her glove to make the play. So now there's 2 outs. On a couple strikeouts in this inning for Ciara Braska. So now here's Riley Schultz. Here's the pitch. Ground ball foul down the third base line. 3-2 Count is 0-1 on Schultz. If Schultz shall reach, Emma Arrington is waiting her turn on deck.
The pitch, runner goes again, swinging a line drive, but foul down the left field line. Lorig went with the fastball there.
Count is 0-1. With 2 outs, here's the 0-1 pitch. Meanwhile, at Nicolay Field is the top half of the first inning. It is no score against the Bulldogs and the Fighting Irish for the club baseball game.
Good hands by the third base coach.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's a called strike.
Count remains 1-2. Florig looks in, gets the one he wants. Checks on Goodrow at first.
Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Running again, line drive. That one's gonna get down into left field. Meister cuts it off. Goodrow around.
Here's the
second.
pitch.
He will make it in a third.
Swing and a miss. Schultz strikes out, but it gets away from Klein. There will be no play.
There. It's gonna be a 1-out single for Anthony Ingram.
So
Fighting Irish runners on the corner with 1 away. He's gonna bring up the first
2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Florida, a big ground ball pitch.
So now the batter will be Emma Arrington.
Not a ton of speed at first, Ingram. Not slow by any means.
Arrington has been on base twice and scored twice.
Florig comes set. First pitch. Swinging a pop-up.
Here's the pitch.
Shallow right field, out goes Perrin.
That is in there for a called strike 1.
In the gap, he'll fire home, but nothing doing is Harris. A nice slide and grab to prevent that one from getting away.
Bases loaded with 2 outs. Here's the 0-1.
Nice play by
and a cut and a miss. That's strike 2.
It's gonna be 2 away for the
Nebraska
Bulldogs.
trying to end this inning
It's always a tough play.
to get out of a bases loaded jam. She has the only 2 outs she has made have both been swinging strikeouts.
Had to go a long way for it. Was able to get there.
And that's a strikeout to end the inning. All 3 outs from Nebraska have been on strikeouts. As we now go to the bottom of the 4th inning, it is still a 5-3 lead in favor of Ohio Northern University as they leave the bases loaded. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
I'm a special ed social worker.
And I'm a 3rd-year public affairs major.
I'm an action filmmaker.
I'm a recent graduate from Michigan State University.
I'm an underwater cinematographer.
So I didn't really decide I wanted to become a pilot till after college.
Jevy is like a consolidated platform where I could have focused information in a couple swipes.
Involve yourself as many opportunities that you can.
The number one most important thing is knowing your own weaknesses. Proper planning.
Breakfast.
It's always something different, something new.
The fact that you can be another small voice that adds to a beautiful space. That's what I'm here for.
This is the Arrington Bookstore at Adrian College, the place to get game day ready, represent your clubs and organizations, and be Bulldog proud. With a wide selection of merchandise and a smile at every visit, stop by inside the Kane Student Center to pick up your Adrian College wares and make it another great day to be a Bulldog. This is the Arrington Bookstore at Adrian College, the place to get game day ready, represent your clubs and organizations, and be Bulldog proud. With a wide selection of merchandise and a smile at every visit, stop by inside the Kane Student Center to pick up your Adrian College wares and make it another great day to be a Bulldog.
To become a future Bulldog and get recruited by Adrian College? Do you display characteristics of tenacity, drive, and determination? With over 50 teams on campus, there are plenty of opportunities to further both your athletic and academic career. For all recruiting inquiries, head to www.adrianbulldogs.com and click on the Recruit Me tab at the top right of your screen. Your future with the Bulldogs is closer than ever.
Rachel Rennie back to work on the mound for Ohio Northern University. Bulldogs back on offense now. First pitch to Lineberger is a swing and a miss. So Lineberger is going to lead things off for Oakland. She'll be followed by Allie Witt and then Allie Mieschwitz. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. And on the ground to second. That'll be picked up by Pickens. She'll throw to first for out number 1. 1 out on 2 pitches in the bottom of the 4th inning. Coming up to bat is Allie Witt. So Allie Witt has been on base once with a single, and she has scored in a run. She takes ball 1 from Rennie. Allie Mieschwitz will be next. She is waiting her turn on deck. Here's the 1-0. And that's a base hit the opposite way, as Witt will have a 1-out single. Next up is Allie Mieschwitz. She'll bat with Witt at first base with 1 out. One out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. There's a 5-3 lead in favor of the Polar Bears. And that is going to be ball 1. On Allie Mieschwitz. Tessa Klein is waiting her turn in the on-deck circle. Here's the 1-0. Check swing. That'll be strike 1. Count is even at 1-1 strike on Allie Mieschwitz. One out in the 4th. It's a 5-3 lead in favor of the Polar Bears. A runner at first base is Witt at first. Here's the 1-1. On the ground to third. That'll go foul. Picked up by Demitet. Count is 1-2 strikes on Allie Mieschwitz. Still just 1 out here in this inning. That's 2-2 strikes. One out. Still here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Here's a high fly ball into center field as Lloyd will make the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. Allie Witt still at first base. Now up next is Tessa Klein. Klein struck out in her last at-bat. Rennie has struck out 3. As Braska is waiting her turn on deck. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be thrown to second by Moore. It'll be not in time. Stolen base for Allie Witt. Or should I say she advanced on the wild pitch. You could see Moore laughing about it a little. She clearly did not mean for that to happen, but that's okay. You can see she gets back into her spot. As the count is 1-0 strikes on Tessa Klein. Allie Witt now at second base in scoring position. Here's the 1-0. On the ground, that's going to be a base hit to right field. It gets by Pickens. Rounding third is Allie Witt, and she'll score standing. So that will be an RBI single for Tessa Klein. Coming up to bat is the woman who is pitching now for Oakland, Ciara Braska. And there's going to be a pinch runner now for for Mischwitz. She'll take her spot at first base. So now the batter will be Braska. Gets into the box. She'll bat with the runner at first with 2 outs. Here's the pitch and a little nubber to Pickens. She'll make the underhand toss to first for the 3rd out of the inning. As the Oakland gets one more run on the RBI single by Tessa Klein. As it's a 1-run game here at the Adrian College softball field as we go to the 5th inning. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
10 years ago, Adrian College Television set out on a mission to bring the excitement, the passion, and the unforgettable moments of Bulldog athletics to fans everywhere. From the field to the court, from nail-biting finishes to championship victories, ACTV has been there to capture it all.
Yeah, Jordan Spear, happy birthday, buddy. I'm sure.
This year, we celebrate a decade of dedication, 10 years of innovation, teamwork, and delivering the energy of Adrian College straight to your screen. Here's to the next chapter of ACTV, because at Adrian College, the story is just beginning.
It is the top half of the 5th inning of NCSA Division I Club Softball between the Ohio Northern Polar Bears and the Oakland University Grizzlies. As Ciara Braska will get back to work on the mound. As the offense for the Ohio Northern, they've done pretty well today. They have scored in every inning except the 4th. So here is the batter is Megan Pickens, I believe. She takes ball 1 from Braska. Nobody out just yet. Nobody on base yet here in the 5th inning. That is good. That is a called strike 1 on the high outside corner. Count is 1-1 on Pickens. She'll be followed by Addie Moore and Caitlin Lloyd. Swing and a miss. That is strike 2. Count is 1-2 on Pickens. Braska with the 1-2 count. That's low and inside, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pickens batting in the 9th position. It's the very bottom of the lineup. No outs. The Polar Bears lead 5-4, the 2-2. That is in there for a called 3rd strike. Braska gets her 4th strikeout. So all 4 outs that Braska has made have been on the strikeout. 3 of them have been swinging and 1 of them have been looking. So now here's Addie Moore. Moore has had a couple of hits today and scored. She takes the ball up and in for 1-0. Moore will be followed by Caitlin Lloyd, who is waiting her turn on deck. And a swung on and miss. That is strike 1. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody on base. The Polar Bears have the lead 5-4. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Another swing and a miss. That's strike 2. So Braska has not allowed a run in her relief appearance. Count still 1-2 on Moore. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still 1 out. This is the top half of the 5th inning between the Polar Bears and the Grizzlies. Here's a 2-2 pitch. And a called strike 2. That was ball 3. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Addie Moore. Base is still empty. Now the 3-2 pitch. Now Addie Moore strikes out for the second out of the inning as she swings at a pitch that was up and in. Now the batter is Lloyd, the center fielder for the Polar Bears. Here's the pitch. That ball is low and inside. Count is 1-0 on Lloyd. If Lloyd reaches, Demitet is waiting her turn on deck. Just 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. Here's the 1-0. It's on the low outside corner for a called strike 1. Here's the 1-1. That is upstairs. Misses the high outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike on Lloyd. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Lloyd with a swing and a miss. So all 5 outs Nebraska has made so far have been on strikeouts. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. She got her on strikes. So 6 outs for Nebraska. All of them have been on strikeouts. 5 of them swing and 1 of them looking. As we now go to the bottom of the 5th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is shaping the future of higher education and leading the way in innovation and excellence. Ranked first in most innovative schools and second in best value in undergraduate teaching in the Midwest by U.S. News & World Report, Adrian College is recognized for its commitment to innovation, quality education, and affordability. Offering 71 undergraduate programs, 13 graduate programs, and a 1-to-15 faculty-to-student ratio, our students receive personalized attention and a cutting-edge education. With state-of-the-art facilities, 10 academic institutes, and 50 competitive sports teams, Adrian fosters growth both inside and outside the classroom. From small class sizes to championship-level athletics, we provide the tools and experiences you need to succeed. Join a community that prioritizes your success. Start your journey with us, where your potential is realized. Discover Adrian College.
It is a 1-run game here in the bottom half of the 5th inning at the Adrian College softball field between the Polar Bears and the Grizzlies. Rachel Rennie still on the mound. She has given up 4 runs today but has had 3 strikeouts. So now the batter will be Olivia Griffiths. Griffiths has had an RBI single today. First pitch to her is a called strike 1. And Griffiths will be followed by Sarah Hall and then Allison Melcher. Count is 0-1 on Hall. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses high and inside. 1-1. The Polar Bears lead by just 1 run as they lead 5-4. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That is ball 2. Misses the outside corner. 2-1 to Griffiths. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. That's right back to the mound. Rennie will make the throw to first for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And here comes Sarah Hall. Sarah Hall had an RBI double back in the 3rd inning. Allison Melcher now is waiting in the on-deck circle. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch to Sarah Hall. It is ball 1. Count is 1-0 on Sarah Hall. Here's the pitch. On the ground to second. Pickens will make the underhand toss to first. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as now the batter will be Allison Melcher. Melcher back in the 1st inning struck out with the bases loaded. But she'll try to do her best to keep the inning going offensively for the Grizzlies. First pitch to her is ball 1 from Rennie. 2 outs now here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the pitch, and that is going to get by Pickens for a base hit to right field. As this inning will keep going for at least one more batter. So next up is Ferguson. Ferguson earlier entered into this game as a pinch runner for Tessa Klein. So now Allison Melcher is at first base. Count is 1-0 on Ferguson. Two outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That is low and in the dirt. Good block by Moore at the plate. So count is 2-0 with 2 outs. In the bottom of the 5th inning, Polar Bears have the lead 5-4. Here's the pitch. Big swing and a miss by Ferguson. And with 2 outs here, Melcher will be on the move as soon as Ferguson hits the ball. The 2-1. Ferguson just got a piece of that one as it's foul tipped. That's strike 2. So Rennie catches up with a count. It is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. That's the 4th strikeout for Rennie as she gets Ferguson swinging on a 2-2 pitch. And that'll do it for the 5th inning as we go to the 6th. The Polar Bears lead 5-4 over the Oakland Grizzlies at the Adrian College softball field. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
You have earned the right to be here through endless nights of studying, testing, writing, and dedication to learning. The diploma you will receive symbolizes your efforts and distinguishes you as a highly educated person, learned in the arts and sciences, and prepared for a life of achievement and great accomplishment.
Now, as you face the world outside this academic haven, the concept of courage must not be left behind in your textbooks. It should be as alive in you today as your ambition to change the world for the better.
We were all born to be a Bulldog. Life drew us to this school, these people, in this tiny town. You were meant to be here to make a difference and to grow within yourself for the better. But what does it mean to truly be a Bulldog? Well, to scratch the surface, the students of Adrian College are anything but ordinary. The pride, grit, perseverance, and passion is absolutely unmatched. Good luck and congratulations, class of 2024. And know that today is yet another Bulldog victory.
Demitet hits a line drive. It'll be caught by the 3rd baseman Hall for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down on 1 pitch. here in the 6th inning. And we would like to remind you, once again, to stay connected with all the action by following at Adrian College TV on social media. From game highlights to campus events, we've got you covered. Don't miss a moment. Follow at Adrian College TV today. You can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. And again, if you're watching the stream on YouTube, thank you so much for checking out our channel. We are on our way to 13,000 subscribers. And if you're interested, you can click on the red button, the one that says subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. That way you will know 30 minutes before we begin our broadcasts wherever we may be. As Rennie hits it foul and out of play, the count is 0-2. As Braska has made 7 outs as the relief pitcher in her appearance. 6 of them have been strikeouts. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That is low and outside. A ball and 2 strikes on Rachel Rennie. 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. It is a 5-4 lead in favor of Ohio Northern. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and hit foul. Hits the dugout. Count still 1-2 on Rachel Rennie. Braska so far has done a great job. She has pitched 2 full scoreless innings. She is 2 outs away from making it 3. The 1-2 pitch. It gets away from Klein. But she won't need to worry about too much because there's nobody on base. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes as Klein is receiving a couple of other new softballs as she gives them to the umpire at home plate. As they'll use them whenever they need to. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. On the ground, it'll go foul and out of play. It's been a good at-bat so far for Rachel Rennie. Rennie struck out in her last at-bat. In fact, that was the first strikeout that Braska made. She has 6 of them in this game out of the 7 outs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That is low and outside. The count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Nobody on base. The Polar Bears lead 5-4 over the Grizzlies. Here's the 2-2. Swing and another foul. Count still 2-2 on Rennie. Still 1 out. This is the top half of the 6th inning. Again, the 2-2 pitch. Rennie hits another foul. This has been quite a battle between Rennie and Braska. Braska getting set on the mound. Again, the 2-2 pitch. And another foul. This has been a pretty long at-bat for Rachel Rennie. Still 1 out here in the 6th inning. Again, the 2-2 pitch. That is low, ball 3. The count is full on Rennie. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out and nobody on base for the Polar Bears. Three and 2. Swing and a miss. Rennie strikes out for the 2nd time. That's strikeout number 7 for Braska. As that was quite an at-bat for Rennie, but it ends on a swinging strikeout. So 8 outs. 7 of them are strikeouts. Here is Hannah Kendig. the first baseman for Ohio Northern. Nobody on and 2 outs. Here's the first pitch to Kendig. That is ball 1. Low and misses the outside corner. Ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Low and outside again. 2 balls and no strikes on Hannah Kendig. If Hannah Kendig shall reach, Marissa Meyer is waiting her turn on deck. Two outs now in the 6th. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Here's a high fly ball to the left side. It will go foul and out of play. That's strike 1 on Hannah Kendig. Takes a practice swing before stepping back into the box. The home plate umpire confirms the count. 2 balls and 1 strike on Hannah Kendig. Still nobody on base. Here's a 2-1 pitch. That is low, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike on Hannah Kendig. Nebraska will have to throw a strike here. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That's in there for called strike 2. As it just landed at the bottom of the strike zone. Now Nebraska's a pitch away from sending us to the bottom of the 6th. Here's a 3-2. And that just misses the outside corner. That will be ball 4 to Hannah Kendig. So now coming up to bat is Marissa Meyer. Myers will have to, she'll have to pick up, she's going to try to pick up Kendig from first base. First pitch to her is a swinging strike. So that's the first. So the walk to Kendig has been the first base runner of this inning for Ohio Northern. It's the 0-1 delivery. That's low and inside as you could see Klein faked a pickoff attempt as she's doing a good job keeping an eye on Kendig at first base. Still 2 outs here in the 6th. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That will be ball 2. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Marissa Myers. Count is 2-1. Kendig at first. 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. The throw back to first is not in time. Klein again showing that awareness and keeping Kendig at first base. Count is 2-2 now on Myers. If Myers shall reach, Riley Schultz, the shortstop, is waiting her turn on deck. Now the 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3. That'll end the inning. That's strikeout number 8 for Nebraska. She has pitched in 3 scoreless innings. As we now go to the bottom of the 6th inning, it is still a 5-4 lead in favor of the Ohio Northern University Polar Bears. You are watching Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
You stand today, students, on the threshold of a magical time in your life, a time of significant growth, introspection, self-awareness, challenge, and opportunity. A time that you will always look back on as special years. Never experienced before you arrived today and never replicated after you graduated.
bottom half of the 6th inning now, as Rachel Rennie will get back to work on the mound for ONU. Swing and a miss by Reagan Lineberger. As the sun is starting to shine through the clouds here in Adrian, Michigan. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the ground to second. That'll get through Pickens. There'll be a leadoff single for Reagan Lineberger. The batter now will be Allie Witt. As Oakland is going to try to get their offense going to possibly tie it up and take a lead. Still a 5-4 lead as first pitch to Allie Witt. That is ball 1. Nobody outs. Reagan Lineberger is on base with a leadoff single. Here's the 1-0 from Rennie. Witt hits a high pop fly to right field. That will be caught by Myers. For the first out of the inning, holding at first is Lineberger. Next up is Allie Mischwitz. Mischwitz will be followed by Tessa Klein and then Ciara Braska. One out, one on. Mischwitz is batting. First pitch she'll see on the ground to the shortstop Schultz. She'll throw to second, and that's all they'll get. Down to first goes Mischwitz, and she'll reach base on a fielder's choice. Lineberger is out at second. So next up is Tessa Klein. So Tessa Klein will bat with 2 outs and a runner on first base. So leading off from first is Mischwitz. Here's a high fly ball. It'll land into foul territory. As the runner will have to, Mischwitz will have to make her way back to first as she ran all the way to third, but then realized that she'll have to go back because it dropped foul. As Tessa Klein will take a second to make sure her shoe is tied. But she'll bat with, so she has an 0-1 count, and if Klein shall reach, Ciara Braska is waiting her turn on deck. Count is 0-1. Here's the pitch. And a little nubber. That's going to be a base hit to right field. Rounding third is Mischwitz, and she'll make it there standing. As the Grizzlies have something going here. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. So now the batter will be Ciara Braska. As it looks like we will be getting a pitching change for Ohio Northern. So we will step aside and take a quick break, but we'll be right back. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is a private liberal arts institution known for its diverse academic programs, strong emphasis on experiential learning, vibrant campus life, and commitment to fostering a supportive community. Want to visit Adrian College for yourself? Visit our website at adrian.edu/campus visit.
And we are back as we have a pitching change for Ohio Northern as Rennie's day is done. She gave up 4 runs and struck out 4 batters, and taking over for her will be Hannah Kendig. And taking over for Kendig at first base is Demitet, as she has moved from third to first. And Rennie will also take over for Demitit at third base. So now the batter will be Ciara Braska. Braska has been the DH, and she's also pitched 3 scoreless innings in a relief appearance as she'll face Hannah Kendig. First pitch to her will be outside for ball 1. Count 1-0 on Braska. If she reaches, Griffiths is on deck. Here's the 1-0 from Kendig. And the runner's going. There will be no play. As it bounced in front of Moore as it got away from her. As the runner will advance to second base. It's Tessa Klein. Count 2-0 on Braska. With 2 outs, here's the pitch from Kendig. That's outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Griffiths is waiting her turn on deck. The count is 3-0. 2 outs. Here's the 3-0. Braska swings and misses on a pitch that was up and out. So the count is 3 balls and 1 strike on Ciara Braska. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Kendig. Braska, it's a fly ball into right. That'll drop foul. So the count is 3-2 on Braska. So the runners with 2 outs will be on the move here unless if Braska walks. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that is ball 4. And the bases will be loaded with 2 outs. So coming up is Olivia Griffiths, who has had 2 RBI singles today. So she'll take her at bat with the bases loaded. She'll face Hannah Kendig. Still the bottom of the 6th inning. So the bases are loaded. With 2 outs. Griffiths will step into the box. If she reaches, Sarah Hall is on deck. First pitch from Kendig. That's way high and outside. That's ball 1. Count 1-0 on Griffiths. Here's the pitch from Kendig. And she takes a called strike 1 on the low outside corner as the count is even at 1-1. So we also have a pinch runner. Nair is at first base. Here's the 1-1. That's a called strike 2. Hannah Kendig is trying to work her way out of a bases loaded jam. As the count is 1-2 on Griffiths. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. That was foul tipped into the glove for strike 3. Hannah Kendig strikes out Griffiths after allowing a walk to Braska as the bases were left loaded as we go to the 7th inning. It is still a 5-4 lead in favor of Ohio Northern University. You are watching NCSA Division I Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is shaping the future of higher education and leading the way in innovation and excellence. Ranked first in most innovative schools and second in best value in undergraduate teaching in the Midwest by U.S. News and World Report, Adrian College is recognized for its commitment to innovation, quality education, and affordability. Offering 71 undergraduate programs, 13 graduate programs, and a 1 to 15 faculty to student ratio, our students receive personalized attention and a cutting-edge education. With state-of-the-art facilities, 10 academic institutes, and 50 competitive sports teams, Adrian fosters growth both inside and outside the classroom. From small class sizes to championship-level athletics, we provide the tools and experiences you need to succeed. Join a community that prioritizes your success. Start your journey with us, where your potential is realized. Discover Adrian College.
And we are back. This is a top half of the 7th inning as Ciara Braska back on the mound. She will face Riley Schultz, Emma Arrington, and Megan Pickens. It's the bottom of the lineup for Ohio Northern. Here's the 1-0. Schultz hits a pop fly as Klein will remove the mask. She'll make the catch. One up, one down here in the 7th. Here is Arrington. So actually we do have a new catcher for Oakland. It is Danielle Ryan who is taking over for Klein at the plate as she just made the catch for the first out of the 7th inning. Arrington fouls that away. What a great game this has been for Ciara Braska. As she has pitched 3 scoreless innings. Here's the 1-1. That's in there for a called strike 2. Count 1-2. Here's the pitch to Arrington. Arrington with a check swing goes foul. Megan Pickens is waiting her turn. On deck, she will be next. And coming up in a bit after this game, Adrian College will be playing against Ohio Northern. Here's the 1-2. Fouled away. As this has been a neutral game between the Polar Bears and the Grizzlies. Count is 1-2 on Arrington. Arrington has walked twice and scored twice. Here's the 1-2 pitch. A strikeout for out number 2 as Arrington goes down looking. That is strikeout number 9 for Ciara Braska. So Ciara Braska just needs one more out to end this game. Or excuse me, should I say to send this game to the bottom of the 7th inning. So here is Megan Pickens. Here's the 1-0. That's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Two outs here in the top of the 7th inning. Ohio Northern has a 5-4 lead. Here's the 2-0. That's strike 1. So Megan Pickens is batting. We are at the bottom of the lineup for Ohio Northern. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Swing and a foul and out of play. Count is 2-2 on Megan Pickens. If Pickens shall reach, Addie Moore is on the on-deck circle. She has her catcher gear on already just in case she won't get a chance to bat. Here's a 2-2. Low and inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Megan Pickens. Count is full, 3-2. Ciara Braska trying to finish off strong. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. A 2-out walk to Megan Pickens. That will bring up Addie Moore. We're back at the top of the lineup for Ohio Northern, as this is a chance for them to extend their lead. Two outs here in the top of the 7th inning, as coach and the home plate umpire are having a quick conversation, going over the lineup card. And so now we're going to have a pinch runner. So Pickens will make her way toward the dugout. So now Addie Moore will get a chance to bat here in the top of the 7th inning. Here's the pitch. Moore hits it foul and out of play. Count is 0-1 on Addie Moore. Ciara Braska trying to get just one more out here to send this game to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Moore hits another foul and out of play. Count is 0-2 on Moore. Ciara Braska just needs one more strike with 2 outs, a runner at first. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That is outside. Gets away from Ryan a little, but prevents the pinch runner from advancing to second. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a little blooper. That's going to drop foul just by the left field line. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Addie Moore. Again, Braska just needs one more strike. With 2 outs, here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and another foul. This is turning into quite a good at-bat for Addie Moore. As it looks like home plate umpire to grab a new softball. So he'll give it to Braska. Count is still 1 ball and 2 strikes on Addie Moore. Again, this has been quite a good at-bat for her. She's going to try to do what she can to pick up the runner at first. Again, the 1-2 pitch. That is just outside. Just misses the outside of the zone. The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Moore. 5-4 lead in favor of Ohio Northern, trying to add on more. Right back to the mound. Braska will throw to first to end the inning. What a job by Ciara Braska as she sends this game into the bottom of the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, and the pinch runner is left on base. As we make our way to the bottom of the 7th inning, still a 5-4 lead as Ohio Northern is clinging on by 1 run. We'll be right back. You are watching NCSA Club Softball on ACTV.
Adrian College is shaping the future of higher education and leading the way in innovation and excellence. Ranked first in most innovative schools and second in best value in undergraduate teaching in the Midwest by U.S. News and World Report, Adrian College is recognized for its commitment to innovation, quality education, and affordability. Offering 71 undergraduate programs, 13 graduate programs, and a 1:15 faculty to student ratio, our students receive personalized attention and a cutting-edge education. With state-of-the-art facilities, 10 academic institutes, and 50 competitive sports teams, Adrian fosters growth both inside and outside the classroom. From small class sizes to championship-level athletics, we provide the tools and experiences you need to succeed. Join a community that prioritizes your success. Start your journey with us, where your potential is realized. Discover Adrian College.
Bottom of the 7th inning, last chance for Oakland. They'll need one run to tie it up, but they'll need one after that to get a walk-off. But Hannah Kendig will get back to work on the mound. She did not allow a run, but she struck out. Olivia Griffiths swinging with the bases loaded to end the bottom of the 6th inning. So now the batter will be Sarah Hall. Hall has walked and had an RBI double today. Hall will be followed by Allison Melcher and then Ferguson. So Hall will lead things off for the Grizzlies in the bottom of the 7th inning. First pitch she'll see from Hannah Kendig. That's way outside, and it gets away from Moore. That'll be ball 1 to Sarah Hall, the third baseman for the Grizzlies. So Hannah Kendig started pitching in the 6th inning, moved from first base to the mound. Demittet moved from third to first, as Rachel Rennie switched from the mound to third base. 2-0 to Hall. Hall hits it foul, hits the net. Moore will throw back to the mound. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Sarah Hall. The Grizzlies looking to get their offense going. Home plate umpire confirms the count. 2 balls and 1 strike on Sarah Hall. Here comes the 2-1 delivery. Hall hits a pop-up. It'll go foul and out of play. The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Sarah Hall. Hannah Kendig is going to try to do what she can to just get 3 quick outs. As looks like the home plate umpire had to go grab some more softballs, as that last one was hit foul as they've run out. But the count is still 2-2 on Sarah Hall, as Hannah Kendig again just looking to end this inning as quick as possible. Here comes the home plate umpire with a new softball. As they're making sure that it's okay to use, she'll rub it on the dirt. As she says it's okay. She feels comfortable using it. So the count is 2-2 on Sarah Hall as there's nobody out and nobody on base here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So this at-bat will pick up where it left off. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Kendig. That's outside. So 3 balls and 2 strikes on Sarah Hall. The count is full. Allison Melcher is waiting her turn on deck. Meanwhile, at Nicolay Field for club baseball, Notre Dame leads 1-0. It is the top of the fourth inning. Excuse me, it's the bottom of the fourth inning. To give you an update, Notre Dame leads 4-0. It is game 3 of that series. Count is 3-2 on Sarah Hall. Here's the pitch from Kendig. That is ball 4. Sarah Hall is aboard. She earns a walk on a 3-2 pitch. So here comes Allison Melcher. Melcher has struck out against Rennie, but has had an RBI double today, and that's going to get away from Moore. Going to second is Hall. And it looked like she was debating whether she could try to go to third, but stopped herself. But remains in scoring position, as Hall represents the tying run, as the winning run for Oakland is at the plate. And Allison Melcher is it. Here comes the 1-0. That is in there for a called strike one. The count is even at a ball and a strike on Allison Melcher. Melcher will be followed by Brozowski. It'll be either her or Ferguson, depending on who the coach decides to have taken at bat. As the count is 3-0 on Melcher. Here's the pitch. That is so 2-0, now 3-0. So actually the count is 3 balls and 1 strike, as the home plate umpire confirms. Here's the 3-1. As that is back-to-back walks from Hannah Kendig. As Oakland has runners at first and second base here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So it will be Ferguson who will take her at bat. Still nobody out here in the bottom. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. First pitch to Ferguson. Ferguson showing bunt. That'll be ball 1. Or no, that's a called strike. Count is 0-1 on Ferguson. Ferguson earlier in this game entered in as a pinch runner for Tessa Klein. Here's the 0-1. That will be low for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Ferguson. If Ferguson shall reach, she'll be followed by Reagan Lineberger. Here comes the 1-1. That's strike 2 on Ferguson. So Hannah Kendig is going to try to throw one in the strike zone here. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one goes outside. Count is even on Ferguson. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Sarah Hall is at second base, representing the tying run, the winning run. Allison Melcher leads from first. Here's the 2-2. That's a called strike 3. Ferguson goes down looking. That's Hannah Kendig's second strikeout. As Ferguson goes down looking for out number 1, as the batter now will be Reagan Lineberger. Lineberger will be followed by Allie Witt. Here's the pitch from Kendig. That is low and inside. Good block by Addie Moore. So the count is 1-0 on Lineberger. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. She just got a piece of that one, as it's even at 1 ball and 1 strike. As the sun again, is really starting to shine here at the Adrian College softball field. Still one out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Check swing. Did she go? No, she did not. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Reagan Lineberger. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Kendig. That's in there for strike 2. So Kendig has struck out 2. She had an inning-ending strikeout back in the 6th inning, and she has had 1 so far here in the 7th. She's now looking for her 3rd. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Lineberger strikes out swinging for out number 2. That's Hannah Kendig's 3rd strikeout. So now here's Allie Witt. Allie Witt, the last hope for the Grizzlies. Because remember, in softball, it is 7 innings instead of 9. That's a called strike on Allie Witt. If Allie Witt shall reach base, Allie Mischwitz is next on deck. As Moore takes a second to take a sip of water. The home plate umpire brushing the plate, making sure it's cleaned up. So the count is 0-1 on Allie Witt. Tying run at second, winning run at first for the Grizzlies. Here's the 0-1 pitch. There's a swing and a foul tip. That's strike 2. And the Grizzlies down to their last strike. Kendig just needs 1 more strike to end this game for the Polar Bears. 2 on, 2 out, bottom of the 7th. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That is high, ball 1. You could see, or excuse me, you could hear some people saying good eye as Witt did not swing. Mischwitz on deck. 2 on, 2 out, bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a pop-up. That's going to be caught by Moore to end this game. And what a job by Hannah Kendig. She walks a couple of batters but gets 2 strikeouts in this inning and a pop-out as Witt pops out to the catcher, Moore, to end this game as the Polar Bears win it 5-4 over the Grizzlies. For the Grizzlies, I would like to give credit to Ciara Braska for pitching 4 scoreless innings, holding the Polar Bears to the 5 runs that they got. But Ohio Northern just clinged on to a 1-run lead. As coming up next, Ohio Northern will be playing again, this time against your Adrian College Bulldogs. Here at the Adrian College softball field, you do not want to miss that game. As we want to thank you very much for tuning into our broadcast on ACTV from Alex Herman and Keegan Wade. I am Forrest Vernier, live from Adrian College softball field. Don't go anywhere, stick around for Ohio Northern University versus the Adrian College Bulldogs, coming up next on ACTV.